The night Daniel Carter realized his life could fall apart, or finally come together, began with a single sentence that froze him in place. The office lights were still on long after everyone had gone home, the city glowing faintly through the glass walls, and his heart pounding as if it already knew something his mind hadn't accepted yet. He stood there, a single father running on exhaustion and hope, facing a moment that would either break him or remake him forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet strength of people who keep going even when life keeps pushing them down, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because stories like this connect hearts across the world. Daniel had not planned to be there that late. He never did. Every evening was a race against time: finish work, pick up his daughter Emily from the neighbor, help her with homework, cook something warm, and pretend that everything was fine. Since his wife passed away 2 years earlier, the world had become a place he moved through carefully, like broken glass beneath his feet. He worked harder than anyone else in the company, not because he wanted praise, but because stability was the only thing standing between his daughter and chaos. His boss, Victoria Hale, was known for her sharp mind, impossible standards, and a presence that made entire boardrooms go silent. To Daniel, she was a distant figure of authority, someone he respected and feared in equal measure. That evening, an unexpected email had asked him to come to her office. No explanation. No subject line. Just a request that felt heavier than it should have. As he stood there, hands slightly shaking, the words came that he never expected. She told him he shouldn't be there and that he should go. For a moment, it felt like everything he had worked for was ending, like all the late nights and sacrificed weekends had meant nothing. His mind raced to Emily, to rent due, to the fragile balance he fought every day to maintain, but life has a strange way of pausing right before it changes. Victoria didn't move toward the door. She didn't dismiss him. Instead, she stood by the window, the city lights reflecting in her eyes, and something in the air shifted. The tension wasn't about desire, it was about truth. About walls coming down. About two people carrying different kinds of loneliness in the same room. Daniel had always seen Victoria as untouchable, a woman armored in confidence and tailored suits. That night, he saw something else. He saw exhaustion that matched his own. He saw the weight of expectations, of a life built on success but empty of warmth. As she slowly removed her jacket and loosened the tight control she held over every part of her world, it wasn't seduction, it was vulnerability. It was a silent admission that power didn't protect her from pain any more than hard work protected Daniel from grief. Memories flooded Daniel's mind as he stood there, unsure whether to leave or stay. He thought of the mornings when Emily asked why her mother wasn't coming back, of the nights he cried quietly so his daughter wouldn't hear. He thought of how close he had come to giving up, and how the smallest kindness, a teacher's patience, a neighbor's help, had kept him going. In that office, surrounded by glass and steel, he realized that everyone was fighting something unseen. Victoria began to speak, not with authority, but with honesty. She spoke of pressure, of being strong for so long that she had forgotten how to ask for help. She spoke of seeing Daniel stay late every night, of noticing the way he rushed out at 5 sharp, of guessing there was a child waiting somewhere who mattered more than deadlines. She admitted that she had called him there not to fire him, but because she needed to understand the kind of man who carried so much without complaint. Daniel listened, his fear slowly melting into something else: recognition. He wasn't alone in his struggle. The room felt smaller, warmer, as if the walls themselves were leaning in to listen. He shared pieces of his story, not dramatically, but honestly. He spoke of Emily's smile, of the promise he made to never let her feel alone. Each word felt like a risk, but also a release. The days that followed changed everything in quiet ways. Victoria didn't become softer overnight, and Daniel didn't suddenly have an easy life. But something fundamental shifted. His work was recognized not just as effort, but as commitment. Flexibility replaced suspicion. Understanding replaced judgment. Victoria, for the first time in years, allowed herself to step back from the endless chase for perfection and invest in something human. Daniel's life didn't transform with grand gestures. It changed through small mercies. Leaving work on time without guilt. Being present for Emily's school play. Feeling seen rather than invisible. Victoria, too, found herself changed, learning that strength didn't mean standing alone. She began mentoring with compassion, leading with empathy, and allowing her own guarded heart to heal. Months later, on a quiet evening much like that first one, Daniel watched Emily sleep, her small hand curled around her favorite stuffed toy. He realized that the fear he once lived with had loosened its grip. Not because life was perfect, but because hope had found its way back in. He thought of that night in the office, of how close he had been to walking away, and how staying had rewritten his story. Life rarely announces its turning points. Sometimes they come disguised as discomfort, as moments when you're told you shouldn't be there. But those moments can become the doorway to something better if you have the courage to stand still and listen. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness can change lives in ways we don't always see, please like this video, share it with someone who might need encouragement, and subscribe to support more stories like this. And before this story ends, take a moment to comment below with one word that describes how it made you feel, because somewhere out there is a single parent, a lonely leader, or a tired soul who needs to know that even in the hardest moments, something beautiful can begin.